Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, DeFi High, brought to you by David at DeFi University. How's it going, brother?
Outstanding, Mike. Doing well today. How about you?
Doing awesome. So I just want to start off today's show, and I want to get in the habit of this. If you are interested in this content, this entry-level DeFi, or if you're interested in intermediate or advanced strategies in DeFi, please go to the link below. And all of our episodes, not just DeFi High, we have a link to David's DeFi University. It's all free. It's from start to finish, all of it, the tests, everything is free. The only thing that costs money is if you opt in to his daily Monday through Friday. He does 2 live calls, 1-hour calls with his community, and it costs $97 a month. You don't have to buy that to go through the course. But if after going through the course, you want to be a part of a good, solid, honest community that is going to support your growth and, in your journey in DeFi investing, I highly suggest you take a look at it. And again, it's only $97 a month. I know I can name, probably half a dozen that are out there that their courses are not free and their live calls. People pay $10,000 or more a year for this quality of content. So
not even close though. The content isn't even close. And the one that you're talking about, I built half that shit for that guy.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be,
trying to be charitable. Yeah. I get it.
Well, David, why don't you jump right into it? And I want to thank everybody for showing up. We're starting to get a great following for this show. Yesterday we had a couple hundred people watching live. So, those of you that are paying attention right now, when these markets are in the dump and interest in crypto and DeFi at all-time lows, you're the ones that are learning and are stacking and stacking your bags with DeFi to where when these markets turn around, not if you're in good, solid, fundamentally strong projects that have good tokenomics and all these things that we talk about here, you are going to be sitting very nice when these markets turn around. And again, I say when, not if.
Right.
If you look at what's being built and you stay unemotional and you're not watching just the price, you're watching what's being built, who's building it, where their money in their investment is going. That is what is going to make you successful, and that's what we teach here. So that being said, David,
Mike, you're absolutely right. You got to be able to cut out the emotion. Because look, you make your money on the buy. And so when things are red like this, you've really got to be thinking, hey, which projects are likely to be the big winners during the next bull run? Because those projects, those are the ones that you might consider, adding to your watch list for right now. Maybe you don't buy them, but you add them to your watch list. And then you say to yourself, hey, you know what? If price gets to my level, I'll start to nibble. You don't go all in just because something is down. You slowly build a position, and you do that without any emotion. You can't have emotion. It's got to be cold and logical, and you've got to stick to a plan, man. Because if it's based on emotion, you're going to fail. That's just what happens.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And and kind of one of my secrets that I use is I don't go crazy. I don't buy thousands or tens of thousands of dollars of these projects. A lot of times I'll start with 800, maybe $1,000, and I use DeFi to make it grow. So, and I don't do, super tight ranges or anything like that. I do full range pools. I do lending, staking, and I just let them sit and just, let them build themselves. So I'm not I don't have to continually dump money into them, and I don't FOMO in. Once I have a bag of it, that's it. It's going to sink or swim on its own. And that's just kind of my personal strategy.
You know what's so interesting about that, Mike? Paradoxically, the full range pools might actually be a better option than those concentrated pools. We don't really need to go into like all the reasons why, but if you're in a full range pool and you're doing 10 or 15% fee APR, that might actually be closer to real yield than the fee APR that you get in a CLP. And so what do I mean by that? Well, real yield would be like if you're in a CLP and you really don't understand how those concentrated liquidity pools work, then you could be the yield. Like
Well,
Unfortunately.
and you can be losing exposure, to the asset that you're trying to build.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's divergence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So hey, let's take a look at this. I'm on lesson 7 at social media red flags. And look, after that conversation yesterday morning, Mike, or yesterday
Yeah.
afternoon, I think that this is really, really important for us to review because, hey, how many times have you seen, a piece of content on social media where it, number one, evoked an emotional response?
Mhm.
Number two, it had all of these like red flags built into it. Like, how many times have you seen that, right?
That's almost all it is. And even on projects I'm bullish on, I'll call out, people talking about, Canton or Aerodrome or something like that. If they're, doing this hype stuff, if there's red flags, I'm like, listen, just because I'm bullish on these projects doesn't mean they're a sure thing. It's you have to constantly be critical of what you're investing in. Constantly, don't get stuck in those echo chambers. Constantly be seeking out new information as things evolve. You need to, rethink your thesis. Again, that's what I did with XRP. I was bullish on XRP, but it fundamentally changed, and I had to reassess my thesis and got out because of and it was 100% unemotional. It was
There you go.
100% logical.
Yep, and that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
When you're making investing decisions, you just can't afford to allow emotion to creep in at all. And
No.
this stuff, man, around social media. One of the guys in the DeFi U community, he sends me. He's a private client. He sends me text messages. Okay,
Mhm.
and I get these text messages, and like it's always like, oh, Epstein built Bitcoin, and XRP is going to be international payments, and
Basically, the stuff that we're seeing on social media.
yeah, man. And like, so, I asked him, hey, I'd love to learn more about that. Can you send me the social media posts or can you send me like what you're reading? And when
Yes.
he sends me what he's reading or what he's watching online, dude, every single time it's like some crazy nonsense on YouTube or X that has literally every single one of the red flags baked in.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, man.
that Epstein made Bitcoin thing. I mean, the gold and silver bugs, and don't get me wrong, I'm heavily invested in gold and silver, but the gold and silver bugs latched onto that just because there was an email where Epstein talked to some people at MIT about blockchain, and it was, I mean, this total roundabout, but you had to dig for that. If you just took it at face value, and honestly, I think it was a psyop. It was being used to dump the price of Bitcoin so that big money can buy more of it at a lower price because emotional retail is going to dump because they see stuff like that. They get emotional, and it's how you are manipulated, and not just in investing, in politics and everything. It's emotion is the best tool to use to manipulate. Bottom
Yeah.
line, it's the way the brain works. If the brain is in a state, an emotional state, then that's why media and Hollywood and stuff like that use that, because it's a proven fact. It's a scientific fact. I mean, it's taught in the military that
Yeah, man.
go after something that gets somebody emotional, and then you can manipulate them.
Yeah, no kidding. And talk about manipulation. I remember it must have been a couple of years ago. Jamie Dimon over at JP Morgan, he, went on CNBC and said, Bitcoin is like rat poison. And if any of my guys buy it, I'm going to fire them.
Yeah,
And Bitcoin was down big. And I think that was like on a Friday or something. You
and he
know
was
what
buying.
his yeah, exactly. Oh my God. That's
Yeah,
just like,
you listen to him now and you think he's Michael Saylor. It's he's constantly talking about Bitcoin being a store of wealth, and BlackRock is, I mean, heavily invested in crypto now. I mean, they're in RWAs. I mean, they're balls deep in freaking RWAs.
exactly, man. I mean, look, Crypto, DeFi, these digital rails, this is the future of finance, but
Yeah.
not just finance, man. It's literally going to be the future of everything, especially, Mike. We got to start talking about, I'm going to build some educational material on
Yeah.
Lightning and Nostr because,
I
bro,
haven't heard of
like,
Nostr. I've heard of Lightning.
oh, bro, it's so cool. I started building on it and I put together a ton of educational material. I'm going to compile it all together into a course like what we're going through. But
Hmm.
dude, it's real, true sovereignty. That's what that is.
Hmm.
So we're going to get into that, not today, but I want to go through crypto scams on social media so that we know like some of the red flags to look out for. And then maybe we can hop into lesson 8. So let me go ahead and get started. Let's
All right,
play
let's
this.
talk about something super important, crypto scams on social media. We're going to do a quick 5-minute deep dive on how to spot the red flags before they even get a chance to mess with your wallet. Think of this as your digital self-defense class.
It really all boils down to a super simple idea we learned when we were kids: stranger danger, right? A random person online promising you'll get rich quick is doing the exact same thing as someone on the street offering something that's way, way too good to be true.
Okay, so let me just pause here for a moment. So, how many times have you received a direct message on a social media platform or via email or via text? But let's just focus on social media. How many times have you received an unsolicited DM telling you that, hey, I can help you 10x your bag, or I can do whatever it
The
is
one
they
that I
say?
always get is, how is
Yeah,
your crypto investing going? It's it's very benign. Very not pushy at all. It's just and it's usually a hot girl or something like that. It's
right,
just,
right.
I just I just wanted to see how your investing, your crypto investing is going, and of course, they're trying to build that rapport and stuff.
Right.
Every time I get one of those, I'm just like, going great, thanks, and then I just stop talking to them.
So, I mean, like, here's the thing, you got to be on the lookout for big tits. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. If you get a DM from some chick and you take a look at the profile and it's
Mm.
just big tits, that shit is fake. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, most people in crypto and DeFi, especially on YouTube, like who are consuming content like this and on X too, it's majority male. Okay. So,
Yep.
that means that that's the demo, that's the demographic. And so scammers know this and they will use fake profiles with, seductive looking images of attractive women, and they're all fake. It's all fake. So one of the big red flags here is big tits. Like if you get DMs from attractive women unsolicited,
Yeah.
bro, come on. Like hot girls are not sending you a DM asking about your investing
Oh,
portfolio. Like,
totally off topic, but something that annoys the shit out of me is the lack of discipline that men have these days. It's any cute girl that pays them any kind of attention online, they jump on it like a fat kid on a donut. It's you know what I mean? It's just insane to me that people just that quickly will allow themselves to be taken advantage of like that.
yeah, man, it's obviously not real. If you just take a step back and ask yourself, like, oh, like, how likely is it that this, like, 10 out of 10 beautiful woman
And
is
even if
sending
it is,
me, like, come on,
And
you
even
know?
if it is, it's you don't want that in your life. You don't want somebody that's hunting you down because you have some money, in
Right,
investments.
right.
It's have some discipline.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Mike. Even if it is real, you still wouldn't want it.
No,
It's still bad.
like I
Yeah,
said, stay focused. And we talk about this on the channel all the time. Stay disciplined. Focus on your goals, your financial goals. Do not get distracted. Allow nothing to distract you, because I
yeah.
guarantee you, if you have money, if all that goes away, I guarantee you, that girl is gone with it. So stick to building yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, financially, and the rest is white noise.
Well, if all the money goes away, you know what doesn't go away? Your discipline. You got to be able to fucking build that. You got to build that discipline layer. Because if everything goes away, all you have left is your internal strength. So let's just say, you know,
Ellie says it's not just guys. She gets those messages from big titty girls too.
I love it, man. Ellie, you're awesome.
Nobody's immune to big titties. Nobody.
I know, right?
The playground's just digital now, but the rules are exactly the same. And yeah, social media is that new playground. It's basically the perfect hunting ground for scammers because everything is built around speed, hype, and that fear of missing out. So our goal here is simple: help you spot the warning signs so you can scroll with confidence, knowing what to look for, and more importantly, what to just keep scrolling past. Okay, to really get this,
Okay, so what do you keep scrolling past? Like how do you spot the red flags on YouTube or on X? And we can do this like literally in a split second. Let me
So
just
easy.
It's so easy. Let me hop on over here to YouTube. And I'm just going to go ahead and type in XRP. Okay.
If it doesn't have data and facts, it's just talking about, like, moon math, or, if is a big one. If this happens, then this project will do this. It's that, avoid anything with if in it.
Okay. So the first thing here, like price targets. Okay. XRP 664. That's a price target. All right.
Yeah.
So that's a red flag. Number one.
Oh, absolutely.
This here, going all in. They are going all in. Who's they? Who's going all in?
Royal they?
Like, so that's a red flag, man.
Yeah.
So let's see here. If I just scroll down,
Dude,
charts in the background like that.
That guy right there,
Which one?
XRP bottom called, is one of the worst when it comes to XRP.
Yeah, man. And how many followers or subscribers does this guy
Dude.
have? 133,000. It's just
And
bro.
all he talks about is XRP. I
Yeah,
don't
man.
understand how you can get that many followers just talking about XRP every single fucking day.
So look also at how emotionally evoking this is. Tomorrow, shock, exclamation point. 300 banks go live. That scammer dude, what's his name? Garlinghouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, okay, red flags.
Oh,
red
in the face, like scroll down, XRP next 30 days. The face, face and shit like that.
Every single one of these pieces of content just screams.
Oh, okay. You typed in XRP. I was wondering why are all these just XRP?
Well, because I mean, the XRP stuff is just one of like the best examples of scam content. It's a great example of horrible scam content. Like XRP starting breakout against Bitcoin. Like, come on, man. This is all nonsense. Every single one of these pieces of content is nonsense. And they've all got those red flags baked into them. So I just wanted to show an example of like when I'm looking at content online and I see, price targets or emotional taglines or emotional, thumbnails or, particular and like famous investors' faces. Those are red flags. Those are big red flags, especially around projects that have never provided value in any way at all, like XRP. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. It's everywhere.
Past. Okay, to really get this, let's make it interactive. I mean, instead of me just listing a bunch of red flags, let's look at a real-world kind of example. We'll play a quick game of Spot the Danger to see how sharp our instincts are. So here's the setup. You're scrolling through your feed and you come across two different posts talking about the same new crypto project. Looking at these two side by side, which one feels like it's trying to trick you? Okay, so on the left, you've got situation A. It's a popular YouTuber. All caps, exclamation points, promising a 100x return.
See, like this is what we were just looking at. We were just looking at thumbnails with the copy in the thumbnails that looks just like situation A. It's popular YouTubers with exclamation points in the thumbnail talking about price targets or moon incoming or whatever. Like contrast that, which has all of the red flags baked in, to the educator talking about let's learn about these digital assets together. Like much, much different. And you know what? learning about digital assets, not quite as sexy as we're going to the moon when Lambo, bro, you know? So you just got to be able to spot situation A. And hey, you know what? If you want to consume that type of content, I won't hold it against you. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that you should stand guard at the doorway of your mind and
Well,
not allow that stuff in, you know?
I'm going to address a comment in the chat over on Arena. I can't bring it up on screens. Sorry, I want to make sure we get this. So MI, it looks like he did a price prediction on XRP back. Doesn't have a date on it, unfortunately, but it was a while ago. It looks like it was back in around August of 2024 or something like that, or July of 2024. But David's not saying that price predictions are all going to be wrong. What he's saying is it's a potential red flag, and
Right.
mixed with other red flags is something you should avoid. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows exactly what something's going to go to. And and especially if you're saying XRP is going to 589 or $10,000 or something like that. Just the math doesn't math. So David
Yeah.
isn't saying that all price predictions are going to be wrong. He's saying that if someone is giving price predictions, be very critical. Start digging a little bit deeper. See if there's other red flags. Don't just take it at face value. That's what
Right.
he's saying.
Right, exactly. And so, I just pick on XRP because it's like the most egregious violator. Like the content creators who shill XRP, they're egregious violators of
It's
this.
because it gets the most eyeballs and it gets the most
Yeah,
followers. That's
I
that's
know.
that's it. And it's sad, because there's people, and not just us. There's people out there making good content that are trying to grow a channel, and instead of people watching them and getting good content, they're watching Moon Boy math and freaking conjecture and rumor and all that stuff, and investing in projects that quite possibly they're going to lose quite a bit of money.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I certainly don't have a crystal ball. I left it at the shop. I got to go pick it up. It's been a while, but I don't know where price is going to go. If anyone tells you that they know where price is going, run in the opposite direction. They're lying to you because no one knows. Okay,
Oh,
but what I do know is that
that's why they call TA male astrology.
yeah, and I do TA all day, every day.
Yeah,
And
it,
like
it's an
it's
educated guess based
yeah.
off historical patterns and emotion and other data and analytics. The moving averages and the M2 money supply, and people are using different data points to try to paint a picture to make it to try to increase their chances of being more profitable, other than just saying price go up, price go down, and say, well, because of X, Y, and Z, there's a better chance that price go up or a better chance that price go down.
Right. It's just pattern recognition over the course of greater than a decade, looking at, hundreds of thousands of charts. So that's for me,
Well,
but
and David has even said, you can make money on XRP. We're not
oh,
saying
for
that you're not
sure.
going to make money, but if you're trading it short term, we're just saying for people that are out there buying it and hodling it because they saw a post that is going to $10,000 and the Federal Reserve is going to buy all the tokens back at $10,000 a token, and because that was a narrative for a while, like a
Yeah,
real narrative that some people were taking seriously.
that's
And
horrible. That's
yeah,
that's so horrible. And,
yeah,
and so all we're trying to do here is point out the red flags that we
yes,
see on social media content. And XRP is the most egregious violator, but it's not just about that specific project. It's, just in general. Like you could see a piece of content about Bitcoin, like the
yeah,
highest quality digital asset. But
mhm,
if it's got all of the red flags, like it's got, price prediction in the thumbnail. It's got copy in the thumbnail that is all caps with
mhm,
exclamation points. It's got some type of partnership in the thumbnail. It's got a human face, maybe of a really famous like sailor, for example.
mhm.
Like there are all of these different red flags together that combine to create really scammy looking content. And it doesn't have to be about XRP. It could be about Bitcoin. It could be about ETH. It could be about any digital asset. We just want to make sure that you know what to look for so that as you're scrolling through your feed, you don't fall for nonsense. So
Yes.
when you see situation A, moonshot, moon boy, when Lambo, trust me, bro, stuff like that, that's like, come on, like that's nonsense. It might be fun if you want to watch it just to laugh or whatever, but if you actually want to build your skill set, you should be looking for educators. People who don't make money off of you buying their courses, people who make money independently. Like maybe they're a professional trader like me, or maybe they're independently wealthy. They bought Bitcoin in 2012 for $40. I did that too. I wish I'd held it, Mike. Oh my God. But like you're looking for someone who has what it is that you want. And for me, that's a skill set. So you got to find the people who have the skill set that you want. And a lot of the times the content that they make is not going to be super sexy, because it's not promising, hey, 100x return tomorrow. And that's what a lot of,
A lot
people.
of the content that we do on this show is dry. I mean, that's why we try to jazz it up and crack jokes and stuff like that. Because I mean, it's good. Good serious content is not going to invoke emotion in you. You're going to learn.
Right.
Have you ever sat in a college course or in any course for that matter and was really excited about what was being taught? There are exceptions, but for the most part, when you're doing meaningful things that are helping you grow, mentally, it's not going to be, invoke a whole lot of emotion in you. It's
You
going
gonna
to be,
learn. You gonna
yeah,
learn, Mike. We gotta
you're going
go.
to, you're going to
We
lear.
gotta go to the Leering Center, bro.
You got to go to the Leary Center. So
Oh my God.
I like this. MI actually put in the chat compost mentis, and so I actually had to look it up. And it says having full
Latin.
control of one's mental facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry.
That's pretty good, man. I don't know exactly what that means in this context, but I like it.
Oh, he was. I think he was. It was a little while ago that he said it. I think when we were talking about discipline and things like that, having the mental fortitude or the mental discipline, emotional discipline, to be in control. So I think that's what he was getting at.
Yeah, you know where I got that, Mike? I leered it at the Leering Center. That's
There's some
well,
good stuff to be leered there.
And on the right, situation B. This one's from a crypto educator. Way more measured, actually talking about risks and potential problems. Take a second. Which one feels off? If you picked situation A, you nailed it. This is a classic. And here's exactly why it's so manipulative. That extreme urgency, buy now. That's designed to create FOMO, that fear of missing out. The crazy hype is the bait. And those comments, they're almost always bots, just there to create this illusion that everyone is buying in. Oh, and that little not financial advice disclaimer, that's usually just a lazy way to try and dodge responsibility.
okay, so take a look at all these red flags. The urgency, it evokes an emotional response. Buy now, buy now. The unrealistic hype, again, emotional response. Explode, 100x, 1000x. Suspicious comments, or even a suspicious view count. Like, why is it that all these nonsense channels get so many views? Are they using view bots? Possible. And then you got that vague, not financial advice disclaimer after they've just finished saying, buy now, explode 100x with a bunch of suspicious comments. And then they say, oh, yeah, but not financial advice.
Well, dude, I'll tell you, one of the big reasons why we left, we had that channel that was almost 50,000 subscribers. One of the reasons that we left it is, honestly, it got to a point it was obvious that probably 95% of the subscribers to that were bots, because we're on a channel now. We just started it, and we're about 600 subscribers already just in the past couple of weeks, and we get actually more views on this channel with
Right.
just shy of 600 subscribers than we did with 50,000.
Right.
So there's a lot. Don't just look at the subscriber count on some of these channels and think that they actually have those followings. There's a lot of people, I get contacted all the time. I mean, like right now, I'm getting one from somebody on Kick that's, saying for, $50, $50 an hour, they'll get me, 1,000 viewers, freaking, on each of the shows. I refuse to do that. That's my integrity does not allow me to do things like that.
Well, right, but also it's worse than that because if anyone were to do something like that, you're gonna end up fucking with the algorithm
Yeah,
where like it's not organic,
no,
and that will actually like derank your channel.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not something that you ever want to do.
So, that example is pretty much a perfect showcase of the tricks scammers use. Now, let's zoom out a bit and look at the whole playbook they're pulling from, whether it's on Twitter, Discord, wherever. These are the core psychological tricks that they all lean on. And this table just lays it all out, plain and simple. Urgency is their favorite tool because it's designed to make you panic and stop thinking clearly. Guaranteed returns, come on, that's the biggest lie in finance. If an admin slides into your DMs to help you, that's almost always a scam. Real support staff don't do that. And look, if it sounds way too good to be true, trust your gut. It almost certainly is.
Right. So let's just go over these one more time here. So whenever you see urgency, act now, 10 spots left. Come on, that's super scammy just right off the bat. If anyone guarantees returns, they're full of shit. Okay. Like there is
Because
no such thing as a guaranteed
why would they
return.
need your money if they know how to get guaranteed returns?
Exactly. Right. Like if that's real and they're actually generating 10x returns, they don't need your money.
No,
They're doing it for themselves.
exactly.
So it's
And they're
just
not telling other people how to do it because that
they
would
would
mess.
never do that. Right.
Yeah,
Right. They would never do that because that would destroy the return.
exactly. Well,
So
a good example is that Braun wallet. I toiled for a while. I'm like, do I want to tell people about that? Because the more people that do this, the less I'm going to make. And I, as always, decided to share it with everybody. Share it with the community, and so they could earn free Canton. But yeah, it's there's a lot of the DeFi stuff, and a lot of investing things that the more people that know about it, the less that you're going to profit. So yeah, if they have guaranteed returns, they're not sharing it with you.
no, never. And unsolicited contacts. So if you get an unsolicited contact from someone in your DMs offering to help you, that's a scammer. Okay. Like real people don't do that. People are busy. They've got stuff that they're working on. The people who have the skill sets to be able to actually help you are not scanning social media looking for people talking about some problem that they've got to offer free unsolicited help. It's not a thing. Okay.
I'm
So
not even
like,
a subject matter expert, and I have people constantly hit me up for advice. I can only imagine what somebody that really knows what they're doing, the the flood of people asking them or messaging them.
yeah, man. And when you see something like this that's too good to be true, like
It
if
is.
someone says like, hey, I turned $100 into 10,000 in one day, like, come on, man. Like, unless you were buying meme coins back in 2024, like, okay, maybe if you got lucky, but
Well,
it's too good to be
which
true. It's
one
gambling.
of the hundreds of thousands of meme coins? Throw a
Right.
dart at a fucking dartboard.
Yeah,
Who would
dude.
have thought Dart coin? Would have done what it did. You know what I mean?
Oh, Partcoin was great, man, but I think it's probably going to zero now. But like,
Oh,
hey, that's the life cycle of memes.
but who would have thought that you could get rich on a token called Fartcoin? Because there's people that did.
I know, yeah. Uh,
I know you
I
made a
did,
bunch of money on
yeah, bro. In December 2024, I made mid six figures in December 2024 just on Partcoin.
it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but like, here's the thing, man. That was just pure like luck.
Mm.
Like it was me applying skill, but at the same time, I got lucky on that one.
Mm.
So, um, I missed Book of Meme. I missed Book of Meme by like 12 hours.
Uh,
Um, I was putting out a report. I used to write these Friday reports in another group, and I was highlighting a couple of different tokens. And Book of Meme had literally launched, like someone had created it, or however, I don't recall how it was created, like a couple of hours earlier that day. It was a Thursday,
mm.
and then I was talking about, hey, check out Book of Meme. and I wanted to buy $300 of it. Um, so that next day, the next morning, like 12 hours later, if I had bought $300 of Book of Meme on that Thursday night, that next morning it would have been worth like $2 million. Like
Yeah.
I missed it by a couple hours, man. It's just like,
So, knowing the playbook is one thing, but building your own defense, well, that's the next step. So, let's talk about a really simple but powerful mental filter you can apply to any post you see. This is how you go from being a potential target to a savvy observer. And here it is. It's just 3 simple questions you ask yourself. 1. Is this person getting paid for this post? If they are, their opinion is biased. Period. 2. Are they rushing me? Real opportunities don't need to create a panic. And 3, what do the comments actually look like? Are people having a real conversation, or is it just a wall of rocket emojis and to the moon?
right. So this one here, if someone is getting paid to post about a particular project or coin or whatever, like that's a problem because the incentives are not in line. They're not aligned properly. Like if I'm creating content about a particular project, it's because I am genuinely interested in learning about that project. I don't get paid from any project, but if I create content about one, it's because I want to learn more about it. But if someone's getting paid to post and they're not disclosing that, number one, it's ethically problematic, and number two, it's just scammy, man. That's just super scammy. So it's very difficult to know if the poster is actually getting paid to promote a project or not. So just think about that. Start thinking about that type of stuff. Like ask yourself, is this person getting a check to post about this particular project or not? That's just worth asking.
Well, and
yeah,
and you're never going to know for sure, but there are red flags. Again, there's a lot of influencers out there that have hundreds of thousands or millions of freaking subscribers, and they talk about one project exclusively. There isn't that much. I mean, I sometimes find it hard, especially in this market, and I talk about everything, but sometimes it's hard to find good solid alpha on the entire crypto market, let alone one project every single day, Monday through Friday.
it's not easy, man. It's really not easy. You've basically got to live, sleep, eat, and breathe. Crypto and DeFi. You've got to be plugged in to all these communities. You've got to be constantly in the charts. You've got to be constantly on social media, and you've got to basically consume this content 24/7
Yeah.
to keep your finger on the pulse. And even then, sometimes it can be difficult to come up with new and engaging ideas for creative. It's not easy, man. But we do it every single day. So yeah.
The whole key is just to pause and ask these questions before you ever click a link. That mental filter is the perfect lead in to our final section, a proactive safety checklist. These aren't just things to look out for. These are actual habits you can start building right now to make yourself a much harder target for scammers. Seriously, think of these habits as your digital shield. Turning off DMs from strangers is huge. It cuts off the number one way scammers will try to approach you. Verifying info on a project's official website, not through some link somebody posted, is crucial. That's how you avoid fake sites. And honestly, these small things, like just being skeptical by default, they make all the difference.
Right. That's super important. Be skeptical by default. Super important. Like, do not allow yourself to get taken in by emotional content that drives urgency. Like, you've got to be always skeptical of everything in crypto and DeFi. Just at face value, you should be skeptical. But then, if you want to learn more, it's okay to dig in and learn more. You should. But at the beginning, be a little bit skeptical. It'll save you a lot of heartache in the end.
In the world of crypto social media, caution is your single best asset. And really, that brings us to the one final question you should ask yourself every single time you feel that crypto FOMO kicking in. Before you click, before you comment, before you even think about buying, Just pause for a second and ask yourself, have I checked?
Have you checked what? I wonder what have you checked? I don't know, man.
I'm guessing, all the red flags, that it
Right.
mentioned earlier on.
Yeah. So have you? Okay. So here, let's just run through these key takeaways real quick. So when it comes to social media red flags, right? So social media is the primary attack surface for scammers out there in crypto and DeFi. They're going to be using X. They're going to be using YouTube. They're going to be in the DMs. They're going to be in the comments on YouTube. They're going to be on Discord. They're going to be on Telegram. They're going to be on, you name it, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all of them. Their social media is the primary attack vector for scammers in the crypto and DeFi space. So just be aware of that going in. Stranger danger. So basically, if you get unsolicited offers in this space, you can bet that it's not legit. Okay. So just be on the lookout. It's probably a good idea to just automatically filter DMs. Just probably a good idea to do that. Each platform definitely has its own specific scam type. YouTube scams are going to be a little bit different than X, which are going to be a little bit different than Discord, which are different than Telegram. So they all have their own specific types of problems, but there are universal red flags, and it almost always has to do with urgency, like driving some type of emotional buy-in, talking about some type of guaranteed returns that doesn't exist, that's not real, asking people for money, just there are these universal red flags that pop up across all platforms. And if you want to verify whether something's real or not, don't trust someone in a DM. Instead, especially if it's unsolicited, instead go to the legit channel itself, go to an official channel. And if you start getting inundated with direct messages, not only should you stay skeptical, but you could disable them temporarily if you want to. So key takeaways, basically just be skeptical by default. Okay, let's see here. We've got 17 minutes left. Mike, you want to go ahead and take a look at lesson 8 for
Absolutely.
transaction? Yeah, let's do it, man. Transaction verification. Okay, so wow, yeah, this is super, super important. So before you sign a transaction, let's say that you go to your favorite decentralized application, your favorite dApp, and you know that you're on the right site. Okay, you've confirmed the URL, you've got it bookmarked, you're on the right site, and you connect your wallet, and then you go to maybe execute a swap transaction, and you get that transaction verification that pops up in Rabby on your browser. And before you sign a transaction, you have to slow down and read it. You've got to read it, okay? And what you're looking for is when you sign that spending cap, if you're signing to swap, first you're likely going to have a spending cap transaction that you've got to sign.
I want to emphasize this because this is insanely important to read those pop-ups because it's very, very easy to do, and I catch myself doing it sometimes. Just going through, and you're just like, oh yeah, and you're just clicking through, approve, because you're trying to get in or out of a position or something like that. You need to read what's in these because there can be malicious stuff going on. It could be that you're like David's talking about. You're giving him unlimited access to your USDC or other assets to where they can basically drain your everything out of your wallet. So you need to read everything before you approve it. And I know that we get into it later on, but I'll touch on it really quick. There are add-ons that you can use that behind the scenes they'll scan things and give you warnings on if something is malicious or something like that. So there's things that you can that the software can do to scan things for you to make sure that and it will tell you, hey, are you sure you want to do this? So it's like a check, an automated check.
Yeah, so it doesn't even have to be a malicious transaction for you to lose all your money. And let me explain how. So
Okay.
let's say that maybe you're on Uniswap, like, the best decentralized exchange on EVM chains. Let's say that you're on Uniswap, you know that you're on the right URL, you're on the legit site, you've connected your wallet, you want to swap your ETH for USDC, let's say. And so you go through, you sign the spending cap, and that spending cap, you make sure when you're looking at that spending cap that it's not unlimited, and you change the spending cap to the exact amount of ETH that you want to spend to buy that USDC. Okay, great. You made sure that the spending cap was good, and then you sign that transaction. The next transaction that you've got to sign is the actual swap itself. Here's how you could lose everything if you're not careful and you don't slow down. Sometimes in certain wallets, or sometimes you'll just get a really bad swap quote, and that could mean something like
Dave,
this.
Keep going. I have to take this call.
Got it. All good. So sometimes you can get a really bad swap quote. And what that means is, let's say you've got, 10 ETH and you want to swap that ETH for USDC. If you don't check in the wallet to see, okay, I'm swapping 10 ETH, I'm going to receive this amount of USDC. Here's the slippage and here's the gas. In Rabby, it'll show you those items. If you don't slow down and check that stuff, I've seen, Rabby pop-ups where it says that it's a 99% loss on a swap because there was an error on the slippage. Okay, so you've got to make sure that you slow down and read those pop-ups from whichever wallet that you're using and verify that the slippage is not extreme. Like, you've got to verify that. You've got to make sure that if you're swapping asset A for asset B, that the simulation of that transaction that you see in your wallet is what you actually want. You've got to verify that before you sign. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to play through this video content. I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Welcome to the explainer. So today we're going to talk about that one single click that stands between you and disaster, or you and a successful transaction. I'm talking about transaction verification. It's absolutely critical. It seems so simple, doesn't it? That little confirm button pops up. We just want to get on with it, so we click it. But if you ever really, truly stop to think about what you're agreeing to, because that one click, well, it has way more power than you might realize. And that's the thing. Scammers are banking on us just blindly clicking approve. Because when you sign off on one of their malicious smart contracts, and really, that's just a fancy term for a piece of code that runs automatically, well, it's not a small mistake. We're talking wallet draining, lose everything kind of stuff. Okay, so how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this? Well, let's try a little analogy. Let's pull this out of the crypto world for a second and put it into terms we all get. Imagine you're mailing something super valuable, right? You're not just going to slap a label on it and, hope for the best. Of course not. You double check the address, you'd make sure the contents are listed right, and you check the shipping cost. A crypto transaction, it needs that exact same level of care. You have to verify the recipient or the contract. You have to understand what action you're actually approving. And you got to make sure those gas fees aren't totally out of whack.
See, this is exactly what I was talking about a second ago. So all you got to do to keep yourself safe is slow down and verify each item of data in that wallet pop-up to make sure it's what you expect. So the simulation is going to tell you, okay, I'm engaging with this protocol. Maybe I'm swapping asset A for asset B. Well, am I going to receive the amount of asset B that I expect? What is the slippage on that transaction? How much gas am I paying for this transaction? Is it reasonable for the network that I'm on? If I'm on mainnet, ETH mainnet, and I'm paying, $100 in gas, but Gwei is sitting at 0.2, well, that doesn't make sense. So you should probably cancel or refuse to sign that transaction and then refresh. Try again. No harm in trying again. You can go through and look at the simulations as many times as you want. And then when you're finally ready and you've verified that, hey, slippage looks good, amount of assets that I will receive from the simulation looks good, gas looks good, I'm on the right site. When all of those things tick off, you can check them all off, then it's okay to sign. There's no rush here. You should not ever rush through signing transactions. This is your money. So you wouldn't just rush through and sign any type of legal document, would you? You wouldn't just go to a bank and they hand you something and they say, oh, yeah, sign this. You wouldn't just sign it, would you, without reading through it carefully first? Same thing in DeFi. You've got to slowly go through and read these wallet pop-ups before you sign anything. And if you don't know what the wallet pop-ups, the different pieces of data in those pop-ups mean, well, then join a free community like DeFi University so you can learn about this stuff and ask questions of experts who know what the hell they're talking about. So, yeah. And that type of education is free. You don't have to pay for that.
All right, so that's the theory, but let's see how this actually works in the wild. I'm going to put you to the test right now, because this is the skill we're really trying to build here. Okay, look at this. On the screen, we've got two situations. Situation A, you're on the official Uniswap site, one you've bookmarked, doing a standard token swap. Situation B, you clicked a juicy link from Discord promising a free NFT. Now your wallet pops up for both. What do you see? Take a look. So really dig in here. Look at what these prompts are asking for. Can you see the red flags? One of these is perfectly fine, totally normal. The other one, it's a total disaster waiting to happen. Which one is the trap? Yep, if you guessed B, you are absolutely right.
So you should never interact with scam NFTs or scam tokens that are airdropped into your wallet ever, except to burn them. And when you go to burn them, you've got to be 1000% positive that you're actually burning that scam token. Okay, so you don't end up burning your own assets. So never interact with them unless it is to burn them.
I mean, the sketchy Discord link is a huge tip-off, right? But the real danger, the smoking gun, is in the permissions it's asking for. It's not asking for a small one-time thing. It's asking for crazy broad control over your assets. So let's break this down. That phrase, set approval for all. Now look, this is a legitimate function that big NFT marketplaces use, so you will see it, but in the wrong hands, it's a catastrophe. It's literally like giving a complete stranger the master key to your entire art gallery, not just a ticket to look at one painting. They can walk out with everything you own.
And so NFTs are not just for digital art anymore. You know, NFTs are used, these non-fungible tokens, you know, they're almost like they can be used as a receipt for your concentrated liquidity provision positions. They can be used to almost like a receipt for real world asset positions. So, you know, this is something that can apply to a lot more than just, digital artwork.
And then there's this other monster, unlimited token approval. When a contract asks for this, listen up, it's not just for this one single transaction. Oh no, it is asking for a permanent key to withdraw any amount of a specific token from your wallet whenever it feels like it without ever asking you again. It is the crypto equivalent of signing a blank check and just handing it over to a scammer. All right, I know, that all sounds pretty terrifying, but here's the good news. You absolutely do not need to be a cybersecurity genius to protect yourself. The solution is actually a really simple, powerful routine that you can and should use for every single transaction. Think of this as your pre-flight checklist. It's what you do before you take off. Step 1, verify the site. Does the URL in your wallet actually match the official site you think you're on?
Right. And so the way that you do that is just head to DeFi Llama, make sure that you're on the right site. And then once you're satisfied that you are on the official site, bookmark it. You won't have to go back and verify ever again.
Scammers make pixel perfect fakes, so check it. Step 2, confirm the action. Is the transaction what you intended to do? Are you doing a simple swap, or are you accidentally approving something way bigger? Step 3, check permissions. This is a big one. Are you only approving the exact amount you need for this one thing? Or are you seeing scary words like unlimited or all? And finally, step 4, scrutinize the details. Do a gut check. Is that recipient address what you expect? Are the gas fees reasonable, or are they sky high for some reason? Run through this every time.
Right. And so these last 3 steps, confirming the action, checking the permissions, checking the details, you can only do this if you move slowly. There's no reason to rush through signing transactions. I can't tell you how many private clients I've worked with where they're sharing their screen and they're rushing through. And I've got to say, hey, let's slow down here a second. Why don't we read through this transaction together? Let's just make sure that you're actually going to sign what it is that you intend to sign. So, just slowing down, super important.
After all that, after all the technical stuff, it honestly just boils down to this one simple power
100%. If you ever are in doubt about a transaction, do not sign it. Period. Full stop.
full rule. This needs to be your new mantra. And here is maybe the most important thing you'll hear today. There is absolutely zero harm in hitting that reject button.
Right.
Zero. You can always come back to it after you've done a little research. See, scammers love to create this sense of urgency, right? That FOMO, that fear of missing out. Act now or it's gone forever. Don't fall for it. Your patience is your greatest weapon. A rejected transaction is a wallet saved. So there you have it. This isn't just about learning a checklist. It's about changing your entire mindset. You now have the knowledge to go from being someone who just passively clicks confirm to someone who is an active, vigilant defender of their own assets. The power is literally in your hands. The only question left is, are you going to use it?
Awesome. All righty. So bringing things back on over here, I know that Mike had to take a call there, but I've got to run. I've got another call in 2 minutes, and I've got to just get a bio break just real quick before I hop onto my other call. So Mike, thanks so much, man. And everyone who was able to join live, I appreciate all you guys for hopping on here. If you want to, thanks, Mike. We'll see you later, man. I got to run. Appreciate everyone for joining live.